Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where just like we're divided as to whether or not Multiverse of Madness is a good movie, we also seem to be divided as to whether or not it's a hit. We just ain't never gonna agree. And it is in that weird gray zone, I think, in both areas. So I'm gonna break it down, and I'll be curious to hear your thoughts down below. And I'm gonna tell you how I feel as well. All right, so in its third weekend, it's only been out for 3 weeks. It seems like forever. And just 17 days of release, Multiverse of Madness has passed 800 million. Will it join the $1 billion club? I think it's unlikely at its current trajectory, especially with critical darling Top Gun Maverick barreling towards theaters next weekend. And taking over all the premium screens. That's vital. That's how people like to see movies these days, especially if they're going to see it multiple times. Why go again if you're going to watch it on just a regular old screen, especially when Disney Plus is right around the corner. We'll get to that. But Top Gun Maverick, I suspect, will be a huge crowd pleaser. Just like all the critics love it, I think all the peoples will love it too. Because it's expertly designed to be a mega crowd pleaser. I think it has extremely broad appeal. It's really brilliantly designed from a business perspective. Tom Cruise now, though, has never opened a movie bigger than 60 million, the 60 million range. Which is interesting. And his highest grossing films are his latest Mission Impossible movies, but he ain't never reached 800 million, much less the $1 billion club. But so thanks to a moderate bar, I wouldn't call it a low bar, but it's definitely a moderate bar, Top Gun Maverick has a genuine chance of becoming the most successful film of Tom Cruise's career, just like Will Smith recently, before the very unfortunate incident at the Oscars, Aladdin was Will Smith's biggest movie to date. And Will Smith was one of the last movie stars. The big question is whether or not Will Smith can remain so. But so Tom Cruise, and both men linked to Scientology, both men very meticulous in their behind-the-scenes handling of their careers. Now, ironically, Marvel recently admitted that they did consider adding Tom Cruise to Multiverse of Madness. I think they went further than they're admitting. But anyway, as I've told you, I still think there's a chance Tom Cruise could pop up in the MCU sooner rather than later, as he did take a break from filming Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Parts 1 and 2 to fly to Atlanta, where they filmed the majority of Marvel projects, and where many Marvel projects were filming at the time of his visit. All right, so a big win with Top Gun Maverick would be incredible for Cruise. I think a lot of franchises would want him, proving that he is indeed one of the few remaining movie stars. That's, it's crazy because he should be problematic because of his Scientology connection, but he somehow manages to get around it. Maybe because he never talks about it. We'll have a lot to discuss next weekend for sure. I think he should be easily able to top 60 million, so he should have the biggest opening weekend of his career. It's a great movie. I have tickets to see it again in IMAX. I can't wait. All right, and it's perfect for Memorial Day weekend. But back to Multiverse of Madness. 800 million ain't too shabby, which I'm sure many of you have already furiously typed. And the film could even end its theatrical run in the 900 million range. I think that's possible. I've been telling you for weeks that Multiverse of Madness, by the way, would do the 45-day window on Disney Plus, and sure enough, last week, a leak seems to indicate that it will hit Disney Plus on June 22nd. Now, I don't know if it's going to be that specific date. It would be madness to drop that movie the same day as the Obi-Wan finale and episode 3 of Ms. Marvel. There's no reason. The day doesn't need the content. But probably it will be that week or around that week, right after Lightyear hits theaters. So Pixar's like, you go to Disney Plus, Marvel. We're going to theaters. Thank you very much. That's Lightyear comes out for Father's Day, which I think is a very good choice. Father's Day weekend. They're doing pretty good. Disney's had a Multiverse of Madness for Mother's Day, Lightyear for Father's Day. Anyway, again, losing all of its premium screens to Top Gun Maverick, and with a Disney Plus debut right around the corner, again, I think that significantly hurts Multiverse of Madness' shot at the $1 billion club. But as is, we've been talking a lot about what films does Multiverse of Madness stand beside. Well, with these box office numbers, it puts them in now a better category. It's been going around the dance floor who it's hanging out with, and it looks like it's going to end up with Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Spider-Man Homecoming, knocking on the $1 billion billion club's door, but not quite getting in. They were right there. That means for sure, though, more Doctor Strange and Wanda. So at the end of the day, we all win. Not just in MCU movies and shows, but theme parks, etc. Guardians of the Galaxy, a movie I just listed, is set to debut what many are calling Disney World's best ride, passing up Flights of Passage and Rise of the Resistance. I can't imagine topping Flights of Passage, and I've still never ridden Rise of the Resistance thanks to this damn pandemic. And who knows when I'll get to ride this Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, but it's supposed to be phenomenal. And of course, Guardians of the Galaxy put MCU Cosmic on the map. So, likewise, this is very good news for the sorcerers and witches of the MCU going forward, considering how well Doctor Strange, with a huge assist from Wanda, performed. She assisted. I think she was the main event. But, of course, we can't agree on that either. All right. Is Multiverse of Madness a hit? I think it's not a huge hit. And I think even if you think it's a hit, you couldn't argue that it's a huge hit. And I think it will instead be remembered by most as a huge missed opportunity. So close, yet so far. But at the end of the day, it was good enough. I think maybe we can all agree on that. It was good enough. And the Marvel machine, talking about barreling ahead, the Marvel machine barrels ahead. And I think the MCU, though, has to be careful as it expands into Disney Plus aggressively, not to become a place that values quantity over quality. I think they could do both, and I'm confident that Thor: Love and Thunder and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will rally. While Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk have both needed significant reworking and undergone reshoots, which, I don't think is that big of a secret. And by the way, that doesn't mean that they didn't turn out wonderfully. Rogue One, of course, being the prime example of that you can fix it. That did not turn out to be the case with Doctor Strange. As I told you, I'd heard of and they eventually admitted they reshot almost the entire movie. But anyway, I haven't heard a single negative thing about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm so excited about that movie. That Namor leak today. Oh boy. As for Thor: Love and Thunder, though, I have heard rumors that thanks to a lot of improv on set, Taika Waititi's cut needs to be pared down significantly to be a feasible running time for a theatrical release. But that just means lots of extras on the digital release, maybe. I mean, it seems like they just have too much of a good thing. I think even when Taika Waititi's aim is slightly off, he still manages to hit a bullseye thanks to his strong and unique creative voice and his very strong relationship with talent. And I think a large part of the fandom. I think Taika Waititi, for the most part, gets it. There was some, talk about shenanigans on set. I don't know if that might have distracted him. But again, I thought the first trailer looked phenomenal. I'm excited for the second trailer tomorrow night during the NBA Game 4. I have very high hopes for Thor: Love and Thunder. I think MCU is doing just fine. I don't think this is a doom and gloom scenario. It's just, missed opportunity. Good enough and missed opportunity, I think, is the best way to describe Multiverse of Madness. And Wanda! All right, so anyway, as for this weekend's new releases, Downton Abbey, A New Era. Opened to just about half the first film's debut, which of course came out, right after the series ended. So there was people were, wanted more Downton Abbey. They're like, you took it away from me. I'll never forget going to see that film. In fact, I saw it twice actually with regular audiences. Once was a fan event. And I couldn't, it was a really great, diverse crowd, in every possible way. People were so excited. It was like going to a Marvel movie. It was so fun. This one I saw at a press screening, and I unfortunately didn't get a chance to review the film due to some personal things that came up and messed up my schedule. But, first off, only 48% of the audience was over 55, which clearly means a lot of Downton Abbey fans decided if they're going to watch it, they're going to wait to watch it at home, either digitally or stream it. But I honestly think that Downton Abbey is running on fumes at this point. And this movie, not only has it been too long, but I don't think this movie offers a good enough reason to return. The story just isn't compelling enough, especially compared to Julian Fellowes' new American Downton Abbey, The Gilded Age, which is a much more aggressive, dramatic show. This just seems a little too soft in comparison. The film's also a huge downer, especially at the end. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I don't go to Downton Abbey to cry. And the series finally says goodbye to Maggie Smith, and I thought it took way too long to do that, and it was just way too sad. So anyway, I don't even know if I would recommend that you rent it or down the line digitally, unless you really need something to watch, or if you're that big of a Downton fan that you just need to see this next chapter. Meanwhile, Alex Garland might have his fans, both in the industry and audiences, But once again, he just doesn't know how to make a commercial film. And he's going to have to get better at winning awards, or even at least getting nominated if he wants to keep making movies. Ex Machina fared okay. A lot of nominations, in fact, and that's why he was able to make Annihilation. But that got no recognition and only moderate to low box office. And with a 75% Rotten Tomatoes score for Men in this dismal debut, he's going to have a hard time making another movie. I'm sure, because he's Alex Garland, he'll talk someone into it, but I bet they're going to be like, would you like to make it for $1? Like, as cheap as possible. But speaking of A24 and award season, Everything Everywhere All at Once, in its ninth weekend, has become the indie studio's highest grossing film of all time, unseating Uncut Gems. And the film is still holding week to week. I didn't even love the movie, and all this great news and all this win is making me feel better about it, which means I think it's going to do really well during awards season. I think that its campaign story is a really uplifting one. And you can add to that it's been in theaters for so long. You saw how fast The Northman went to digital. This movie can also say, hey, we supported theaters, and the industry will love it for that. And that will help it during awards season as well. Everything Everywhere, Uncut Gems, was also an awards contender, but I think people just couldn't get over Adam Sandler, which is unfortunate because he was incredible in that movie. But it certainly helped the Safdie brothers, and I think everyone's going to be helped who's associated with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Over on streaming, let's start with Nielsen as usual, where surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, with its fourth episode, Moon Knight dropped actually. We were hoping it was going to keep going up. It dropped down to fourth place, the lowest it's been so far. But we all know the middle episodes were weak, and so you're seeing, I think, some audience drop off a bit. Let's see what happens, or maybe people waiting to binge. Let's see what happens with The Incredible 5 and 6. Although, remember, an incredible 5th and 6th episode didn't do that much for Boba Fett, which was weird, because 5 and 6 were so incredible for Boba Fett, just like they are for Moon Knight. Anatomy of a Scandal surged after debuting just in the middle of the pack last week. Amazon's Outer Ridge is still in the top 10 for 2 weeks now, while Russian Doll Season 2 barely got both seasons, because of course, Nielsen counts all the episodes, not just the current season, into the top 10. And The Obamas, Great National Parks, it didn't debut that big, but at least it's holding on to the top 10 at the very bottom. And in movies, same old at the top. What's going to unseat these two? I'm curious. Will it be Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers in a few weeks? I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Well, another scandalous, ripped from the headlines documentary delivers big time for Netflix. Look at that, third place. Over on Netflix's own charts for just last week, Rebel Wilson dominates with her new comedy, A New Look. Good for her. While here's another true crime doc doing very well for Netflix right behind it. Another new original that week, Operation Mincemeat, debuted at number 5, and I watched that as well. It was actually a lot like Downton Abbey, and it had an actress from Downton Abbey in the movie. The British TV in particular, or streaming, it's still TV over there because it's state funded. They often use the same actors all the time, so it starts to make all their stuff seem like a community theater, but really good community theater. But I think that sometimes detracts from it a little bit. You're like, oh, I know you from this and this movie, and you're from that show. So you're more aware that people are playing a role rather than them inhibiting the role. But anyway, it was okay. I wouldn't suggest that you definitely watch it. But again, if you need something to watch, you could turn it on. As for Netflix's series, that's the movies. As for their series, Ozark celebrates its 10th week in the top 10. Wow, it'll be back for sure. They left it open-ended. They knew what they were doing. While new series, The Lincoln Lawyer, has a very strong debut right behind it. Big career boost for Manuel Garcia Rulfo, taking over the lead for Matt McConaughey, who of course starred in the film. That's very exciting. A lot of you in the Latino community have been frustrated about all this other representation, but where's your representation? So it's great. I just watched The Valet last night with Eugenio Derbez, loved it, and so it's great to see Manuel Garcia Rulfo headlining that show so successfully. Now, sadly, Heartstopper has dropped out of the top 10, as you can see, but it's fine because we're getting seasons 2 and 3 now. They were just greenlit, so let's see how those do. Now that by then, the show should have gotten quite a following, so it should debut much bigger. And on iTunes, 2 trashed movies grabbed the gold and silver. Uncharted, which just became available to rent for $6, is back at number 1, while Morbius, which just hit digital at a much higher price point, has been number 1 all week since it hit digital, but it now sits at number 2. I told you people would watch it digitally as a guilty pleasure. We'll see how it does. I tweeted that it debuted at number 1, and someone was like, all new movies debut at number 1. Let's see if it stays there. Well, it did. And we'll see how it does week to week. Moonfall is still in the top 10. Still. And I still can't make myself watch it, although many of you argue that Moonfall is watchable. And I think people will be saying both things about Morbius, right? I can't do it. And other people saying, like myself, it's watchable. All right, as for this coming week, it's Memorial Day weekend. And while, historically people have wanted to be out and about, just like Labor Day weekend, Hollywood feels they're rolling the dice that you want to spend some time watching stuff. So they have a lot of stuff for you to watch. Top Gun Maverick and Bob's Burgers the movie hit theaters. Also, it's Star Wars Celebration for some reason over the holiday weekend. That starts on Thursday, running the whole holiday. Big Lucasfilm panel on Thursday, by the way. And of course, Obi-Wan debuts 2 episodes on a special day, Friday, to obviously coincide with Star Wars Celebration. Maybe something they announce at the Lucasfilm panel. They want that to be announced before they show Obi-Wan. It'll be interesting to see if we can figure out why they decided to do that. You would think you would still release Obi-Wan on Wednesday to kick off Star Wars Celebration. So let's see what's going on there. They aren't releasing the first 2 episodes to press in advance, so we'll watch them together at 3 a.m. when they drop. Watch along, all set to go. I can't wait. But will you have time to watch any of that weekend with Stranger Things 4's mega episodes? Oh my God, they drop on Friday, 7 episodes, approximately 9 hours of entertainment. The review embargo for that lifts at 3 a.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time, and the reviews I think shall be quite good, glorious and glowing. I couldn't decide which way I wanted to go, so I'll go with both words. My review will be ready as well. Oh yeah, also tomorrow, Netflix has season 2 of the latest Ghost in the Shell series. Not a lot of new streaming this week until we get to the end of the week, and a lot of network shows are actually going to end this week instead, as the season ends. And network TV slowly goes into the sunset. But anyway, that's this week's movie math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? How big do you think Top Gun Maverick will open? And do you think Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness will join the $1 billion club? Share your thoughts, subscribe so you catch all these videos. And of course, as always, you can catch some videos right now.